Hello subscribers! Welcome to my 500 subscriber special. This month I'm taking a look at what is bizarrely one of my most highly requested games so far. It's what you wanted, it's Taz Haunted for PS2.
Somebody looking for me?
Let's give this one a spin.
The Tasmanian Devil has always fascinated me. Now I bet you're thinking, why the bloody hell would this unintelligible beast fascinate me? Well, to be frank, the story behind him is somewhat intriguing. To begin with, the character only ever appeared in 5 Looney Tunes cartoons in the Golden Age, and yet somehow he's become one of the most well-known and popular Looney Tunes characters of all time. Despite his few appearances, he also wound up leading his own spin-off TV show in the 90s, which was surprisingly good, actually. You know, considering there's not a lot to his character besides being a dim-witted, voracious brute. I always thought it a shame that his creator, Robert McKimson, didn't live long enough to see his creation flourish. Indeed, not only did Taz star in his own show, he's also been the subject of several video games, including 2002 PS2 release Taz Haunted, a cel-shaded adventure in which Taz needs to save his wife. Yes, wife, they are married.
There's hope for us all yet.
From the clutches of the evil Yosemite Zoo. But is this spin-off game really what we all wanted?
Get it? 'Cause he spins.
Here, birdie, stand still, sparrow.
Okay, so the issues with this game are apparent from the word go. As soon as the opening cutscene starts up, we can tell that the audio quality isn't the best.
Breath, isn't it?
Sure, it's not exactly El Dorado level of bad audio quality.
Yes!
But it ain't great. To make matters worse, often throughout the game, the dialogue is inexplicably cut off.
Why don't you come down and see for yourself? We got Looney Tunes with its subtropical splendors, Looney Lagoon with its... And here are our latest attractions.
And it's what? Looney Lagoon and it's what?
No one will ever know!
Who edited this? But ultimately, I think the game's shortcomings are able to be overlooked for its positive aspects. Indeed, in my opinion, this is one of the best Taz games to ever see a release. And my reasons for that mostly revolve around its controls. No, they're not perfect, and some of them are just plain terrible. The platforming can be terribly awkward at times, but in this game you get the opportunity to play as Taz unabated. Unlike Bugs Bunny and Taz Time Busters, there are no limits to your spin attack. You can run around, spin endlessly, and eat and destroy just about anything you want. If you ever wanted to be Taz, for whatever reason, this is probably the best game adaptation of the character you can find.
You might say it's fantastic. Please don't leave.
The opening clip is frankly rather strange to me, as it features several Looney Tunes characters chasing after Taz, giving the impression that they feature fairly prominently, but Sylvester and Wile E. Coyote barely appear again in the entire game. The villain is Yosemite Sam, who wants the devils for his zoo and to build a Tazland amusement park over Taz's home. I like that he's already established his Tazland before having captured any Tasmanian devils.
Methinks one is jumping the gun somewhat.
Anyway, Sam succeeds in capturing Tasmanian she-devil. Taz escapes, but as a result, Sam erects wanted posters all over the map, many of which are in some frankly bizarre places nobody would even think of looking. I mean, a cave in the middle of a desert? Really?
Might want to rethink your advertising strategy, mate.
Regardless, it's your job to destroy them all. You'd imagine it would get pretty repetitive, but many of the wanted signs and posters require a unique method of destruction.
Stop that, you critter!
Sometimes it's easy to figure out, and other times it's painfully obscure, even with the additional hints from Tweety, which are, for the most part, utterly useless.
The important thing is not to get stumped.
And not only that, Tweety's puns are next level.
You'll have to be pretty light-footed to get this.
He'd even give me a run for my money.
This one's easy, if you know the drill.
The objective is to destroy all 7 wanted posters in each level. Sounds easy, right? But oh no, who's this?
The zookeeper!
And he appears to be the same as the one seen in 1957 cartoon Ducking the Devil, which is a nice touch. Indeed, you'll have to get past these guys first, which is more of a challenge than you think, considering they're about as observant as Paul Blart here. Hello? Yeah, I'm right in front of you, buddy. Are you just gonna stand there looking at me? Turn around. Go on, please. Anyway, fortunately, Taz can consume almost anything in his path and then spit them out as projectiles to daze enemies. What's more, every area contains phone booths. Finding one of these gains access to a special costume, each of which has its own special attack which eliminates the zookeepers permanently. There are plenty of other collectibles and extras, including sandwiches. Finding and eating 100 of these in a level opens a bonus game, which we'll talk about later. rabbit sandwich? That's a bit disturbing. Is this implying Taz finally ate bugs?
Well, I'm not inviting you time traveling again.
Ouch!
Destroying a wanted poster increases the bounty on Taz, while getting caught loses you $500. Although if you want to increase the difficulty to advanced, you lose $700, while in expert mode you lose a whopping $1,000.
I love that you can destroy trees and consume dynamite, but you'll be damned if you can escape a string net.
The higher the bounty, the more extras you unlock, though to be honest, the gallery pages are so low res and frankly boring to look at, you're really not missing a fat lot if you fail to unlock them. Sometimes artwork in games is interesting to have a gander at. This isn't. In each level, there's also a Golden Sam statue to find. As far as I can tell, all this does is increase the bounty more so. It's nice that it adds something of a challenge, but with little to no incentives, it's hardly worth it unless you're a completionist. Oh, and there's also a chance to increase the bounty if you destroy a certain amount of items in a level, which changes depending on your choice of difficulty, or difficulty. Throughout the game, you'll also find whack-in boxes. These things will sucker punch you if you get too close. Spinning these switches temporarily deactivates these boxes, meaning you have to race to them before the clock runs out and destroy them. But watch out for dynamite while completing timed tasks, as Taz will eat them and it will slow you down. Well, obviously. The game begins at Yosemite Zoo. This is the first hub world, accompanied by the tutorial. In each hub world there are 3 main levels, followed by a boss/mini game. After Tweety shows you the ropes, you're ready to start the first level, Looney Tunes, in which you need to use the monkeys to reach a wanted poster plastered on the back of a van that's conveniently teetering on the edge of a cliff.
Ooh, you're as bad as that pesky rabbit.
Now, just by swinging on the monkeys, you can tell the physics are a little off. You can swing back and forth so much and still not be projected as far as you should. Ugh, what was that? Put your back into it, guys. There we go. Excuse me. That wasn't very nice, now was it?
You smirk at me like that again, my friend, and I'll turn you into crocamole.
One poster requires a little more thought, as you need to find a way of destroying it without spinning, as the slippery surface makes this impossible. Occasionally you'll find special power-ups lying around. In this case, you need some special soda to burp the wanted sign into obliteration. Subtle stuff. I always knew he was a bad-tempered brute, but when did Taz become so gassy?
Pardon.
In this hub world, we can also visit Looney Lagoon, the seaside resort, accompanied by music that somehow reminds me of Beck.
Get crazy with the G's whiz.
Anyway, in this level, Taz's costume sees him don some snazzy swim shorts and flatten enemies with a surfboard. There's also a very handy invisibility power-up in this level, which is a great help when you encounter the zookeeper on narrow passages. Here you need to take out a ship whose sail is decorated with your face. How lovely. And there's also some interesting slides, the exploration of which leads to some intriguing discoveries. You can drain the water from the big sink by heading left on the right slide and then right on the left slide.
Confused? Me too.
And then if you head left on the right slide and then left again, you can land in the sink and destroy the poster.
You're driving up a blood pressure.
That nobody would likely have seen anyway.
Well, that was a waste of time. Fun though.
The remaining level in this hub is the Iceberg, in which you have to bounce on the igloos to break a wanted poster encased in ice, and find a way to start up a cable car to send it careening into a billboard with your face on it.
Stop that, you critter.
Though why this billboard was situated along the cable car track anyway is a puzzlement indeed.
Well, that was just an accident waiting to happen. Who designed this place?
There's also a star-shaped sign atop a Christmas tree. Nice to know Sam isn't a complete Scrooge.
Bob Humbug. I'll have your hide, varmint.
That's one way to deck the halls.
Each hub world ends with a boss level / minigame, and I seriously appreciate how these are accessed. You need to use items found at the end of each of the previous levels. It's nothing overly innovative, I guess, but it makes the game's linear progression somewhat more interesting. The boss level in the first world is the unfortunately titled Elephant Pong.
Well, this sounds promising.
Ah, but fear not, you won't be mucking out the cage. This is essentially ping pong, but with an elephant. Because why the hell not? And who better to challenge you than Gossamer? Evidently he hasn't forgiven me for walking all over him. Literally. Anyway, the idea here is to scare the elephant away from your goal. As it picks up speed, you need to try and get it to bounce off the wall and into the opposing goal.
Scare the elephant. I'll out, invite him to dinner.
It's actually really good fun. We can then progress to the city, as this narration states.
Suspect is still at large and headed towards the city. Block off all exits and prepare wanted poster program.
Don't want to finish that sentence then. Okay.
The next hub world is San Francisco.
The pun game is strong in this one.
Here we find the Samsonian Museum, which barely qualifies as a pun, where we can become a ninja. Hi-ya! And to add to the excitement, we need to use the incredibly awkward to control floor polisher to sweep away a wanted sign. How thrilling. Almost done. Whoop. Back a bit. Almost there. Ta-da!
Lemony fresh.
There's also a wanted poster on a giant coin for some reason, and you simply have to spin at it to make a quick deposit. And judging by Taz's flatulence, that's possibly not the only deposit he'll make today. One more sign of note is on a giant bulb. The only way to shed some light on this subject is by flicking the on switch in the adjacent room. Kaboom!
We all knew Taz had a short fuse, eh?
Once we're through with this level, we can return to the hub. Looningdales sees Taz roam around a shopping mall. One sign is once again situated on a slippery surface, and this time you need to use a shopping trolley to destroy it, pressing the circle button to get Taz to kick himself along. And yes, this is arguably more irritating to control than the floor polisher. What fun! Why aren't I moving? Whoa, slow down! Oh god! Since when has pushing a trolley been so difficult? I'm just here to do my weekly shop. Sorry everyone, don't mind me, just picking up the groceries. Meanwhile, there's a poster on a kite in a toy store. Here, you need to fire all 3 big suckers at the target and then bounce your way to the top.
You're driving up my blood pressure.
In this level, Taz dons a record-scratching Rap Master DJ costume that just screams the 90s to me.
Inglorious Taz and a house. I can't believe I just did that.
The final level here is the Bank of San Erika, which sees you explore a construction site and climb the largest set of girders I've experienced in a video game, surpassing even that one in Toy Story 2, and we all remember how tall that one was.
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Fortunately, during your ascent, you come across portable toilet cabins, which you can use as rift portals.
Or as I like to call them, rift portaloos.
In this level, there's another wanted poster plastered on the side of a cement mixer, another vehicle that appears to be teetering over a ledge. It seems, luckily for you, that nobody seems to be able to drive in this game, and considering the god-awful driving controls, that's not really much of a surprise. As you climb the girders, you get to use bubblegum in a similar fashion to how you did in Bugs and Taz. Which is interestingly also a callback to Taz's debut in 1954. The toughest sign to access is atop the girders on an antenna, for which you need to use the hiccup soda before bouncing to the top.
You're driving up my blood pressure.
Once you've returned to the hub, you can now access Gladiator Tunes. And this level is almost as painful as that pun. You have to roll around and change the light pods to a green colour, while Daffy Duck turns them red. Whoever has the most beams lit when the time runs out is the winner. Think Wabbit or Duck Season, only so much more infuriating. The ball is very hard to control, and you can so easily find yourself being thrown around like a pinball. Almost there. Oh, come on! I honestly couldn't wait for this shit to be over. The most enjoyment I got from this game was from repeatedly squashing Elmer the referee. I mean, why is he there anyway?
You're despicable.
Despite winning, Taz is caught and carried away by our big hairy orange friend. Next, we're off to the Wily West. This hub world is possibly my favourite, though the difficulty is amped up substantially. First, let's enter Cartoon Strip Mine. I see what you did there. Oh, and look! Taz is in a cute Indiana Jones costume this time.
Hey, does that technically make this an indie game?
In order to complete this level, we need to ride a minecart to find and destroy a wanted sign, avoiding the debris along the track. I'm almost certain this section derives inspiration from the mine level in Bugs Bunny Lost in Time, considering the controls are pretty much identical. You can jump and lean left and right. Oh, but in this game you can also give your minecart a boost. Though why you'd want to when you don't know what dangers lie ahead is a mystery to me. The posters at this point in the game are harder to locate and destroy, including one that's projecting from a light. They're well hidden, yes, but that does make me question why. I mean, we're underground anyway, who's gonna see them? Another level is a spooky themed level with ghosts and ghoulies galore entitled Taz Haunted, or as I would have preferred, Phantasmagoria.
Your pun game is slacking, guys. I'm disappointed.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, now and again you'll encounter gramophones, which instantly send Taz into a hypnotic trance, much like what happens in Ducking the Devil. There's a section here in which you have to ascend the inside of a house while entranced by music. While in one of these trances, Taz cannot attack or jump. Taz's special attack comes in the form of a were-Taz transformation.
There's actually not much of a change here.
In this level, there's a sign hidden on a roof, and there's a sign in a stained glass window, and possibly the most memorable wanted sign involves you having to be transformed into a mouse for some reason, and then a rubber ball.
I'm failing to see the logic in this evolution.
You then have to hit the switches around the room without touching a wire, which is insanely difficult. This lowers a chair, which you can then shoot up towards the ceiling, breaking the poster above. Obviously.
Perfectly logical.
The final level in this hub world is Granny Canyon. I'm aware it's meant to be a pun on Grand Canyon, and it might just be my tainted mind, but I swear this sounds far dirtier than they intended. Indeed, Granny's Canyon is about as dried up as you might expect.
This channel's plumbing new depths, alright?
Anyway, in this level, your special attack is Cowboy Finger Farts. Yeah, I just said that, yeah. He sort of looks like the Lone Ranger, but I like to call him Dirty Harry.
Go ahead. Let Taz stay.
Here we need to knock the glasses on a conveniently placed billboard to destroy the poster on the gas station.
Ooh, you're as bad as that pesky rabbit!
In this level you also find some chilies, giving you a fire breath, which will help you dispose of Nasty Canasta and the other cowboys. Another sign can be destroyed by aiming a cannon so that it lands you on an otherwise inaccessible platform, while another one is on a moving train, and you need to find some way to destroy it.
Right horny toe!
Once all the levels here have been completed, Taz can ride the minecart down the slope and into the ravine. Once at Sam's base, we find it's laden with explosives. This boss sees you having to evade Sam's dynamite, dodging the path of the explosion. The idea is to lure Sam into blowing up fragile boxes that block your path, as well as the 4 crates of fireworks near him, all located somewhere in the maze. Think of it like a Taz version of Bomberman. Oh, and the music sounds suspiciously like the Magnificent Seven.
I'm not too sure why, but it sounds awesome.
Of course, despite defeating Sam, the place explodes, sending Taz hurtling through space. And normally in space, nobody can hear you scream, but in this case, they made an exception. And what an exception! Wow! There's a weird Doctor Who reference here, not to mention 2001, A Space Odyssey, and Star Wars. Are all the 7-year-olds playing this getting all these references? Anyway, we conveniently land in Tazland. I mean, what are the chances, right? And here we need to destroy the last of the posters as we make our way to She-Devil. The costume in this level is a Tarzan costume, which sees Taz cry out and, drop an elephant on his enemies. Oh, that must fucking hurt. This level was a challenge, mostly due to the frankly horrible platforming controls. Taz simply lacks the finesse to climb such an intricate structure. Posters in this level include one printed on a giant egg, which would likely hatch anyway, so that was a waste of time.
That's what I call a deviled egg.
And there's another really annoying one that requires you to turn this knob and then dodge the buzzsaws to activate another switch within the time limit to shred this log. But my god! Turning that knob is harder than you'd think. Jesus Christ, will you keep still? We then progress to the next boss level, titled Disco Volcano. I personally think Disco Inferno would have been a better title, but perhaps they'd have had to pay for the rights to it, who knows. Here you need to chase Sam around, and then use the chili breath to burn him before he pushes down on a plunger. Wow! Once you've defeated him, it's all over. Sam is vanquished, and you get to rescue your sweetheart.
Hello.
Ah! Throw her back! But in a shocking turn of events, Sam escapes and the devils are devil-napped once again and wind up on the Hindenburg, where it turns out Tweety is the main villain.
If Tweety doesn't kill me first, these puns sure will.
It was my idea to open Tasmanian Theme Park all along. Surprise?
Wait, so Tweety trained me and then practically told me where all the wanted signs were, and now he wants to kill me. Right. Okay, this twist is almost as nonsensical as Hans turning out to be the villain in Frozen.
Yeah, I went there. It's terrible, it doesn't work. Fight me.
This final boss is surprisingly difficult. As with Sam earlier, Taz wears a temporary helmet as a shield, as you first need to spit projectiles at Tweety when his shield malfunctions. Then in the next room, you need to spit at the magnets to reverse their polarity and thus make Tweety's attacks ineffective. And finally, you need to spit at the levers on the opposite side in the right order to open the cargo bay and send Tweety flying.
I mean, Tweety can fly all the time, but you catch my meaning.
Yippee-yi-yo-ki-yay!
Anyway, with the villains out of the way, the devils hijack the blimp and go home.
Tasmo made.
But that's not everything. As I said earlier, collecting 100 sandwiches in a level unlocks a bonus challenge, which can be accessed by what look to be police boxes situated outside the main levels. Was whoever wrote this a Doctor Who fan or something? These games range from destroying objects to completing laps of the area in a time limit. Oh, and there are also some vehicle races, including that floor polisher nobody likes and that trolley we never wanted to see again. Whoop-de-doo! The best of the vehicle challenges sees you occupy Wiley's jet bike in Granny Canyon, but even this is awkward to control. All of these challenges, including the boss minigames, can be played in a split-screen 2-player mode, which is a neat idea, and despite the drop in the frame rate every now and again, it's pretty enjoyable. Taz Haunted is far from a perfect game. Some of the vehicle controls are dire, and the platforming is clumsy as hell. But to be completely honest, this is far better than what you might expect from a game based around a Tasmanian Devil. Despite its shortcomings, this is the quintessential Taz game, with an abundance of references to classic Warner Bros. Shorts, as is typical of your average Looney Tunes game. This is a delight for Tunes fans. And just as a side note, the soundtrack is surprisingly good too. Does it have the lasting appeal of the likes of Bugs Bunny Lost in Time and Sheepdog and Wolf? Perhaps not, but I highly recommend that you give this forgotten PS2 gem a spin.
See what I did there?
I ran out of puns, okay? Piss off.
Anything else you'd like to add, Taz? Oh yes, of course! A big thank you for 500 subscribers. If you don't already, you can follow me on Facebook. That's facebook.com/IDon'tHaveAnose. And if you like, you can become a patron too. That's patreon.com/IDon'tHaveAnose. Nice and easy to remember. I'll be back very soon with something very special. I don't want to oversell it or anything. It's alright.
Got a devil's haircut in my mind. Got a devil's haircut in my mind.
Don't move.